Circus, the true crime YouTube scene, where drama's the star and the facts aren't so clean. She's on her channel, she's screaming with flair. J Ducks, poor Nana, her address is bare. The drama volcano, it's ready to blow. Subs grab their popcorn for the Crama Show. It's Crama's true crime circus. Round and round we go. Not much truth, just trauma, stealing all the show. Narcissism, borderline, maybe psychopathy, fueling all the chaos in this YouTube spree. The ladies are screeching, they're hurling those names. Snake, liar, fraud. It's their favorite game. No problems defined, no solution in sight. Just a merry-go-round of emotional fights. Subs egg it on, they're loving the mess. Trauma bonding nightly in this hot circus press. It's Crama's true crime circus. Round and round we go. Not much truth, just trauma, stealing all the show. Narcissism, borderline, maybe psychopathy, fueling all the chaos in this YouTube spree. It's a borderline's dream, this emotional ride. No facts, just feelings with nowhere to hide. They gather each night for their drama parade. Significance found in the mess that they've made. So tune in tomorrow, the circus won't stop. Crama's true crime keeps the drama on top. With insults and screams, it's a wild, wild scene. Crama's true crime circus, fighting to be YouTube's drama queen.
Hey y'all, I hope that you are all doing very, very well. Greer's Garden, welcome. Great to see you. Snickers from New York, welcome. Toodles, toodaloo. What we're going to do today, we're going to look at just a timeline, okay? Every Day with Jay and Jolene Lunzer are doing a fabulous job putting the legal documents out there, posting the receipts, you know, and I'm just going to try to keep it organized in my head because it is so much information. Okay. Now, look, I debated with myself. I said, self, are you sure you want to put this visual up there with Trisha being the godmother of true crime? But I ultimately decided it was perfectly okay. And who knows why? Thank you, Kimberly. 007. That's what we need. We need more secret agent women. So thank you for being here, Kimberly. I appreciate it. Hey, Jenny. Good to have you. Diane, my friend, how are you? Welcome. Yeah, so here's the reason I decided that it was okay. Because Trisha herself says that she's the godmother of true crime. And when I ran across that little nugget, I thought, how interesting, because Trisha, you're kind of acting like mafiosa type behavior. It's gotten a little weird, Trisha, but I'll go with it, okay? Godmother of true crime. And what she is referring to, of course, is the great and glorious Websleuths website, not the YouTube channel, okay? The website is that which has a great deal of value. It's a very, very, very large site, a discussion type site. It's got bulletin boards and such. Molly Golightly thinks that she is the godmother of true crime. No, that distinction belongs to our Trisha Griffith. That's right. All right. I'm still fighting this cough, so please just bear with me. Well, I have been doing this for 15 years, but I'm here to help if needed. We need you, Kimberly. We need you. Okay, because look, I'm going to be honest. I had an issue with Trisha years ago, and I don't. It's not my way to slap back at people and create a big drama. I'm just not going to get down and do mud fights with old women. I'm not going to do that. I'm an old lady. I'm not going to do that with other old lady. It's weird and creepy, and I don't want any part of that. But you know, here's the reality: what she did to me. There was a woman that, for whatever reason, she really took a hating for me. Like, it was weird. And she began saying how she had diplomas on her wall. You think I'm uneducated? I have diplomas on my wall. No, I'm sorry, Carolyn. We didn't think about whether you even had a diploma or not. Nobody was sitting around discussing your education. But somehow this lady, Carolyn, she got weirdly interested in hating me. It got really strange. So during that period of time where things were so weird with this other lady, Trisha had her on her Websleuths YouTube channel, okay, which really shocked me. I was like, why are they doing an interview? I am a nobody channel. I had probably, at the time, I bet I probably had like 3,000 subscribers, maybe. And so they went on her this lady Carolyn went on Trisha's channel, and I thought, well, I see how these things happen on YouTube, and they always, they do both sides of the story, and eventually I'll hear from Trisha and she'll want to know like my side of the story, right? Oh no, never, not once, not a single time. Randy, they did a little thing, and they did ask me to come on. And again, it's not my style. I'm not going to have mud fights with another middle-aged woman. And I was like, no, I'm good. I don't think I want to do that. But I was actually really surprised, given the supposed reputation that Trisha Griffith has. I was actually really, really surprised that she never reached out and said, what's your side of the story? Because had she, I would have told her all about Carolyn and the weirdness of the way that Carolyn was behaving. So it was very strange. She had this joker, this crazy lady on her Websleuths panel, much in the same way that she invited Grayson on the channel to talk about what went on with Lauren and Christina. That Grayson sort of in like the tattletale position, right? We're just going to talk mean about this other lady. That was kind of the flavor of what Trisha and this Carolyn heifer did. And it was just nonsense. Everything that said was just BS. It was just nonsense. This lady, Carolyn, literally said that I contacted a district attorney somewhere in Florida, that they were getting ready to have a trial. Oh, it was the kids. How do I say the story? Remember the guy? He ended up killing all 5 of his kids, but his wife survived. Because she was the ex-wife. She's like trying to get divorced. He ended up killing all of his kids, and then he drove around for a few weeks with the kids in the truck with him. I don't know if y'all remember that. It was horrible, horrible, such a tragic, terrible story. And listen, it's so crazy as I remember, even just thinking back on it, I'm just an amazement that this was real. Diane was there through the whole thing. Cinnamon Hot was there. I mean, it was wild. Anyway, so this lady, Carolyn, she has the wife on her channel. Okay. So the wife comes up on her channel and they're doing this interview. This is a mother who's got 5 dead children. All right. 5 dead children. And Carolyn has this lady come up on her channel and they're talking, and everything. And after she'd been there for a little while, she says, well, I'm not supposed to be speaking out. I've been told, not to communicate with anybody until after my testimony. Well, meanwhile, back at the ranch, the lady has been up on Carolyn's channel being interviewed for an hour and a half. I mean, it was crazy. Right? And then we find out a couple days later that the trial had been stopped. That it was going to be, that the guy was going to go free because someone called the district attorney and told them that the mother was on Carolyn's channel. Well, guess who they said called the district attorney? Yeah, yours truly, me. Let me tell y'all something. My jaw hit the ground. I was horrified, and I was such a new creator. I didn't know how these things work. I literally felt like somebody punched me in the stomach. I was terrified. My heart was pounding. I was like, oh my God, this might be a crime. Like, I didn't do this. I'm not. Why would I even think about doing that? I was blown away. I can't even tell y'all how bad it was. So anyway, to make a long story short, I don't know who called. I don't even know if they did call. I think it was one of a long line of, excuse the language, fuckery that this Carolyn chick was engaging in, because things went so far off the rails with her. She actually ended up in this huge feud with Natasha Cooper that got real weird. Let me tell y'all. Like, Carolyn said she would get up on a table. I never forget this. Hybrid Pisces. Diane, y'all got to help me. Carolyn said that she would get up on a table and walk around in a 2-piece swimsuit if Natasha Cooper would do the same. So these 2 old ladies were talking about who looked better. And Carolyn is saying she's going to get naked and walk around so everybody can look at her. She's going to go ride her bicycle naked so people can look at her and see that she looks better than Natasha Cooper. Oh, weird. Hybrid Pisces. Was that not just like YouTube Hall of Fame? That was Krama Hall of Fame. It was a wild time, people. So people began really took an interest in Carolyn, started really watching her, and it became very clear she's just lying. She just makes up these stories that she gets put in this very fantastical role, and it attracts a lot of attention, and people would flock to her channel and she would get the views and stuff. It's just classic drama manipulation. But for somebody that was brand new in YouTube, did not know how things worked. I didn't really have any other like creator friends. I was nothing. I was just a little teeny nobody channel, and I didn't really know anyone at all. And to be accused of doing something like interfering with a trial with 5 dead children, I was mortified. I was terrified. I was stupefied. I mean, it got weird. It was really bad. So Trisha has this crazy lady on Websleuths YouTube, invites her on there to tell the stories about what a terrible person I am, Jules of Thought. They kept talking about the fact that I'm a psychologist, and I was like, wait a minute, hold on. You're not talking about anybody else's job. Why are you talking about my job? Well, because they thought that would be effective to make me look even worse, right? So that's the kind of person Trisha is. From my own firsthand knowledge, that's who Trisha Griffith is. She's not this principled, honest creator of integrity like she presents herself to be. She's got, I think, a little shtick going on. She presents herself as sort of this sort of airhead, goofy, kind of fun lady, right? But then as you get into the facts of her history, things get far more sinister. All right. Now, what do I mean that she has a little shtick, a little act that she's putting out there? Well, let's take a peek at this Websleuths clip. And this is from 4 years ago. All right, hold on just a minute. Let me get my visual off of it. Go away. Okay, it's on there. Why isn't it showing? Here we go. Don't know why it won't go away. Oh, maybe it is the video. Hold on. Yeah, that's the problem. Okay, there we go. All right, so this is a clip from 4 years ago on Websleuths. All right. Now, if we were to just take a guess, now this is not factual. It's not even wild speculation. It's just if we were to do like a poll, okay, using context clues, what would you say about where Trisha is living? If you use context clues, you look at the surroundings. Would you be more inclined to say she is in an apartment in the middle of Dallas, Texas? Or would you say she's probably in a log cabin somewhere in Utah? If we did a poll. So if you think this surrounding suggests log cabin, put a 1 in the chat. If you look at this and say, oh, no, it's totally an apartment in metropolitan Dallas in 2022. What do y'all think? Just real quick. 1, if you believe that this is a cabin. 2, if you believe that this is a metropolitan apartment where either concrete walls are king or sheetrock is king, right? Okay, so look in the side chat. Is there an option for trailer? Moments in trading. You're so funny. I love you. Okay. So this is actually really consistent with real log cabins. Okay, this type of heavy paneling. Now, I know what Moments in Trading is talk about. No, you're fine. I know what Moments in Trading is talk about. Back in the 70s, I think, this cheapy wood paneling kind of became all the rage, right? I know what you're talking about. Except this, to me, doesn't really strike me as the cheap wood paneling. This looks like the actual like real wood paneling that that you find in the interior walls of a log cabin. And then the external walls will be the same logs on the inside that you see outside the house. But then on the inside, they take those logs and they cut them into planks, which is why you get those dark knots. And then they glue that up on the wall. And let me tell you something about log cabins, all right? Yeah, Abe Lincoln, right, Trotty? Abe Lincoln sauna, absolutely. When you are in a log cabin that has this kind of paneling and has the log exterior walls, you've never been in a more quiet room. It's wild how quiet it is. My husband and I had a house long time ago. We had a house that started out as a log cabin. It was like a dog trot log cabin. And somewhere, I believe it was like in the 60s, the family that owned the original dog trot actually built the original dog trot cabin. Well, now they had a lot of money. Okay. They were using industry and whatnot. They had ended up a lot of money. So they came in, they did not tear down the log cabin. What they did is they just built a beautiful townhouse, like a Victorian kind of very refined home around the log cabin. It was fun. Like in my walk-in closet, I had a little door, and if you open the door, you could actually see the old stone fireplace that was on one side of this huge log cabin. So in my bedroom, which was part of the original log cabin, even though it was all sheetrocked and had tall ceilings and crystal chandeliers, it's very beautiful. Inside of the walls was the log cabin. And again, it was just one of those rooms when you were in it. Oh my God, it was heaven. It was heavenly. It was so quiet. It was wonderful. All right. So there's a little bit of architectural, tangential little storytelling along the way. But if we get back on track, to me, I'm with those of you that put a 1. This does look like something that would be consistent with a log cabin. I don't know about Utah because I hadn't traveled to Utah, but the log cabins in Colorado, this is it. This is what it looks like on the inside walls, unless they have put sheetrock up. Okay. So I'm trying to establish this mystery date. There is a narrative that has now been pushed. Even someone coming in and leaving me a very long note. They gave me a very long note. They said they were correcting the record, that there was a lot of incorrect information that was being put out. And so let me tell you what I have to correct. Okay. Number 1, Trisha moved from Utah to Dallas. She did not move from Wyoming to Dallas. That was my fault. I did not know where she was because I don't stalk other creators. I don't run around trying to figure out do background checks. I just listen to what they have to say. That's all I really care about anyway. So I knew, however, that she lived in a log cabin because the roof caved in. Well, it turns out the roof caved in like back in 2008 or 2009, but she's grifting Beth B in 2020 something, 22 or 23, telling Beth B she needs money because her roof caved in. But now we have documents, we have receipts. The roof caved in 2009. Yeah, you got to be, this is a terrible story that has come out. Okay. Now then, so I know that this little clip is from 4 years ago. Okay. So 2021 or 2. So she's not living in Dallas when this happens, correct? You got the leather sofa. You got the wood paneled room. Looks like there might be like a fishing pole back there. You get the feeling this isn't metropolitan Dallas, okay? I'm going to show y'all where I think this whole story that Trisha moved to Dallas years ago. Okay, well, that lady that came and left me, chastised me, and left me that long note correcting the facts that she's from Utah, not Wyoming. Are you trying to tell us that Trisha like took the paneling off the wall in Utah, loaded it up in the U-Haul, drove it to Dallas, and then installed it on her apartment wall in Dallas? Is that what you're trying? Is that what you want us to believe? Because that's not what it looks like. You know what I mean? It looks like maybe she might have gone to Dallas like maybe like in September or October of the year that Beth B died, right before Beth died. It's a little scary if that's true. I have to say this. This is not fact. I don't have access to that information. And Lord knows I have been through those videos with a fine-tooth comb trying to figure out when did this chick move from this location on the leather sofa in front of the pine paneled wall. When did she move and end up in Dallas with a damn blue velvet with big giant rhinestone buttons in front of a white neon stripper wall? Like, when did that transformation happen? Now, True Crime Court Junkie, thank you so much for being here. True Court Crime Junkie says the apartment did have wood on it. But how is that possible that it's exactly the same wood, exactly the same pattern of knotty pine that was in Utah? That's my point. How can that be? Okay, so thank you, True Crime Junkie, or I'm sorry, True Court Crime Junkie. Keep me honest. I want facts. I do. I'm not a stalker. I have not spent months and months and years watching Trisha. I don't have all the trivia. I didn't care anything about her. After what she did to me with this Carolyn chick, I was done. I was like, she doesn't have a credible bone in her body, in my opinion. And then the way she behaved related to Lauren, when John Matthias said he was trying to invent a crime to put a mother in jail and was hoping that he could do it for up to 25 damn years. For what? To protect his money, to protect his income from hidden true crime. But everybody fell in line. All the sheeple said, oh, we love hidden true crime. They're so wonderful. They're so honest. None of you guys went and listened to the police body cam. None of you cared about facts. Most of all, Trisha, because the facts are out there. The police body cam is easily accessible. The truth is there if you have interest in truth and integrity. Okay. So I do have integrity. I care very much about truth. And when I see something is just categorically almost like evil, I am not going to be a follower and say, oh, I don't see anything. I'm totally blind. John Matthias wanted to put Christina in jail. And he said that it was 5 years per occurrence. And if they could come up with 5 occurrences, that would be 25 years. He said that to a police officer in Grayson's apartment while he kept saying, oh, would you sign this for us? Would you write us a little occurrence? We just need something, because they didn't have a damn thing to use going to the court. They were looking for any kind of written document from a law enforcement officer. And to the credit of the law enforcement officer, He said, whoa, big boy. It's not time for a police report. There's been no crime committed. But did the subscribers go listen? No. Just put your blinders on. We love John. We love Lauren. Lauren and John. Trisha, Websleuths. We love Websleuths. They do no wrong. The truth's out there if you just look. All right. Okay. Oh, so wild. What's up? The history with this chickadee is crazy. Now then, she's also come in contact in a negative way with Chris McDonough and the Interview Room, starting, brace yourselves, going all the way back to 2011. Same time that all of her lawsuits began. Okay. So where there's smoke, there's fire. Good to see you. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Okay. And I, for one, think that this is a story that at least deserves some kind of investigation from the perspective of, is this really okay? Is this real? This big channel that has all this influence, is this really okay? Or do we have the potential here of more people being hurt? Hey, old woman of the hills. No, go back to the beginning. That's great. Thank you. Do we have the potential for someone to actually be hurt here? Okay. And that's why I ultimately decided to kind of weigh in on some of this stuff. Now, remember what I said a few minutes ago, that Trish, I think, my opinion, she's kind of got a little shtick going on. She's got a little act going on, right? She's got this little act where she sort of presents herself as sort of kind of an airhead, and that she's not dangerous. And, oh, guys, I'm just a silly goose. You just have to help me, keep me on the straight and narrow. And so far, it seems like the I'm going to play dumb act seems like it has benefit her. When you go over to Jolene Lunzer, or you go over to Everyday with Jay, and you listen to the court documents, the depositions, this is who is doing the deposition. This lady that you're looking at right here. I don't know. Maybe, I see it. I don't know. Silly me. I just don't know. I don't know where I misplaced that $89,000. Maybe pay bills. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. I just have to check. I don't know. These are official depositions. And that is her persona. That's the way she's responding. You've got to go watch Jolene Lunzer and Everyday with Jay. They have the receipts. Okay. Now, this little clip I chose, and it was from 4 years ago, and it appears that she is in a log cabin, in my opinion, but I don't know that to be fact. This, I think, gives you a really good imitation or example of the shtick that she's got going on. The fake personality, the caricature that she's presenting, that I think up to now has gotten her out of trouble. That anytime somebody brings her to court because she's stolen money from them, she puts this woman in front of all the attorneys. And the attorneys are all looking at each other going, I think this lady's low IQ. I think this lady may be like intellectually disabled. Maybe we shouldn't be like suing her. Like, what's wrong with her? It's, again, that's my imagination. That is not reality. Okay. It's just my guess. All right. So let's take a little listen to this, which is actually like it's a clip that is like an advertisement for her upcoming show. Okay.
This is Websleuths in the raw. I thought, I need to show you how we prepare for a Websleuths YouTube live show. And this is how I look when I get up in the morning. And this is why my animals need therapy. Even the fish, he's traumatized. Do you blame him?
And you see what I mean? She's presenting herself as this sort of a little goofy, a little kind of unaware, not really taking herself very seriously. She's likable, right? Like you giggle and laugh the way she's talking. The fact that she would even come in front of a camera with her hair oily and unbrushed, and she's real, right? You get this impression, hey, this is a lady who's just being a normal, regular person. And so it kind of puts your guard down. If this is real or is it contrived?
Okay, so what we do is I do a lot of preparation here, a lot of research, a lot of going online. In fact, it's all pretty much going online. When we prepare for Websleuths YouTube Live, that's when you see the super sharp professionalism that I always do. It comes through every night.
Except when you interviewed Mommy Rambling's blog and you let her lie to your face and you made no attempt to get in touch with dozens of other women that could have told you the truth of what was happening. You weren't very professional then.
Actually, I can't show you anything. You know why? I just realized I have to use my computer to do my work. So just join us, okay? Next YouTube Live will be tonight, Monday night, at about 10:15-ish Eastern. And then you'll see me just gussied up, man. Now you understand why Scrappy Joe is such a troubled child.
Gussie.
Okay, don't forget, tonight, 10:15 p.m. Eastern. Ish. 10:15 p.m. ish. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to go do the heavy lifting, the big work. This is Websleuths in the Raw, signing off. See you tonight.
I don't understand, but it was kind of cute, right? I don't think it had anything to do with price of eggs in China, but okay, I'm sure I can deal with that. Okay, now then. So that was 4 days. Let's go to live. I'm so sorry about the coughing. Now you saw her and she's, her hair was oily, unbrushed. The leather sofa, the wood grain paneling. Well, here she is 9 days ago. Okay. Here she is 9 days ago. All right. Let me see if y'all are able to see her or if I need to add it back. I do need to add it back. Hold on. Okay. So here she is from 9 days ago. Okay. Now you compare what she was saying to what you see now. And you look at this jewelry that she's wearing. You look at these vintage suits that suddenly she's begun to wear, and the back of her what do you call it, stage becomes this cosmopolitan white, the neon lights, all of the little knick-knack. I mean, look at her sofa. I'm so confused, Trisha. And look, honey, I know it's not my place. It's none of my business. I'm going to be the first one to own that. why do you have a velvet sofa with gems on it? Right? Those are jewels as buttons on that sofa. But look at all the blankets and pillows on it. Like, is that where she sleeps? I don't know. I have these questions and they're none of my business. I'm the first one to admit, not my business. Okay. Not my circus, not my monkeys, but I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. Like, I'm intrigued by the owl with the magic 8 balls, a little bit of occult. Is that what's going on here? Did you make did you sell a kidney and donate it to Satan? Or like, how did you go from I'm living in Utah with no roof because it caved in to now you're part of Dallas High Life with bejeweled sofa, velvet sofas, and neon backdrop? Like, how did that happen? I'm a little confused. All right. Yeah, that jewelry is crazy. I already did a video about it, but oh, y'all can't see it. Damn it. Sorry. So, yeah, the necklace, everything, for those of us that are old, we know it. Hey, Melissa, we recognize it. But it's nice, right? In this particular live, she looked really nice. I don't have nothing. Some of the other ones, it just looks so uncomfortable and bunched up. And she's got that black leather cowboy hat on, which is a mess. And it, is not good. So this looked really pretty, I thought. It was excessive, but it looked really pretty. Hey, Difficult Research, good to see you. Kresha will be live tomorrow night. I hope that everybody will go over and watch her, and you know that I will. But I do work late on Tuesday nights, but I will get over there and watch it. It may be like replay crew. All right, she looks like a Rotary Exchange student. Yeah, so 80s Dallas chic, right? And when you look at this, especially that necklace, okay, look, honey, Trisha, if the brooch doesn't give you away, and it will, the shoulder pads will definitely give it away. But that necklace that you're wearing, no one or no time outside of the late 80s, early 90s would anybody ever wear that, because they were very heavy. They were incredibly gaudy. And you had to match really, really well. I wouldn't have worn it with anything but a sweater, just a plain old sweater, nothing else. But by the time you take that beautiful necklace, you pair it with a vested suit, a satin shirt, a big clunky sterling silver gemstone brooch. It's just a lot going on. You know what I mean? All right. I think she went thrift store shopping. Seti, she actually admitted to getting jewelry and clothing from Beth B. She admitted to it. So, all right. Now then, so those people that love vintage clothing and stuff, you're looking at this and you're like totally coveting some of this jewelry and some of the clothing. For other people, you already dress like this, and you know how uncomfortable it is. And in today's world, working women don't have to dress that way. We get to wear normal clothes and feel normal and feel relaxed, right? Like, you can put on a skirt and a nice little sweater and a watch, and that's all you need. And maybe some little diamond earrings or something, but you don't have to get all weighted down like a show pony. But the 80s and 90s, maybe even to the 2000s were a bit better though. But the 80s and the 90s for the working girl, oh my God, it was a burden. You were going into the workplace. You were competing with men for the first time on their playground. And there were a lot of them that were really not happy about it. They were very angry that women had invaded their spaces. And those women that had chosen that lifestyle, and they weren't getting married and they weren't having children. Those women that did that, they perfected what was called the power suit. And this would be one example of the power suit, where you would dress in a way that would hopefully be kind of like masculine but intimidating, so that you could go into a boardroom and do a presentation and feel like you were on even playing ground with the men. You don't see that anymore. Women don't do that. They just dress normal. They go in, they present their information, and the men are like, "Oh, good information, thank you." None of this pretending. If you're a professional woman, you got to pretend you're a man. None of that anymore. That is, thank God, that is over. But the point for Trisha is that, the jewelry is very valuable, but it's dating you. Like, people that know it, that know fashion, they look at that and they know what that necklace is. They know exactly what that necklace is. And you can, just where she's sitting right there, one of the discs is turned in the wrong direction. You can see the sterling stamp on it. It's a valuable necklace. I mean, I don't care what anybody says, whether they like it or not. No, it's Goodwill jewelry. Oh, no. No. So, somehow or another, Trisha went from living in a cabin where the roof caved in, looking like hell, to now being in a neon, cosmopolitan, velvet sofa, bejeweled velvet sofa studio, wearing thousands of dollars worth of jewelry. It's weird. It's a weird thing. And if you go and you look at her YouTube channel, it's not an extraordinarily successful YouTube channel. Like JLR, he's raking in cash, right? J's for Justice is a very active channel. The Websleuths, it doesn't get a lot of traffic. Hidden True Crime, loads of traffic. But this doesn't. So where did all this newfound wealth come from? Well, the story is Othram Labs. But there's someone looking into Othram Labs and exactly how money is being made. And why is it that after decades of Trisha's saying, no, we are not monetized. Our Websleuths YouTube is not monetized. We're so much better than everybody else because we're not monetized. Well, guess what? Now they're monetized. So why did we do that? Why are we now sitting on jewel encrusted velvet sofas with a monetized YouTube channel if Othram Labs bought Websleuths, the website, and made you wealthy? Independently wealthy was the exact words in the nasty note that I received. It wasn't a nasty note. I shouldn't say that. That wasn't fair. Not a nasty note. But they did say she's independently wealthy. That the collaboration with Othram Labs made her a rich woman. Well, if she's a rich woman, why is she running around trying to take money away from the little puppies and kitties at Tri-City Animal Shelter? See? Trisha, we got questions, and they're not mean questions. We're curious about the progression of this rags to riches story. Okay? All right. Now then, let's get into the timeline, because I think the timeline is, super interesting. And instead of me like taking the time, I'm lazy, okay? Instead of me taking the time to download all these slides and make a slideshow from Streamlabs, we're just going to do it just sharing the screen, because I hate redundancy of work. Okay. I just hate it. All right. Okay. So let me remind you, the disagreements with Chris McDonough, the Cold Case Foundation, the Interview Room, those actually started in 2011. Okay. And then it has had multiple flare-ups through the years where Trisha and Chris would bump heads. All right. So keep that in mind, that even though this timeline is starting with 2013, there's still mess going on before that time. And we'll get to that point, but just keep it straight in your head. That what Jolene Lunzer and Jay are putting out there, it is a wealth of information. It's information heavy, and it seems to get kind of confusing as you're trying to sort through it. So I wanted to try to put it out there in a way that at least we have like a vision in our head to keep it organized, make it simple. Okay. So 2013, there's an actual lawsuit that is filed in Harris County District Court, which is Houston. Okay. There is this chick named Sue Pruitt. And Sue Pruitt is identified as a co-owner to Websleuths because she gave $11,000 to Trisha Arrington Griffith to buy into Websleuths, the company. Now, it turned out to be a lot more than the initial seed money of $11,000 because, well, let's face it, Trisha has a lot of tragedy in her life. It was a never-ending soliloquy of, my roof caved in, my tires are bald, I can't pay my electric bill, my dog has anal cancer, my kitchen sink is leaking. It was, we need new computer. We don't have enough to, never ending. And of course, Sue Pruitt had bought into Websleuths on good faith. $11,000 is a lot of damn money, right? And she buys in, and then she hears all these problems. And Trisha's saying, I'm not going to be able to do anything for Websleuths this month because I've got 4 bald tires. I can't do anything this month because we can't pay for our servers. And she just kept giving all these money problems. And Sue would give her $300, $100, $800, $3,000. It was ongoing. I mean, it's bad, y'all. This isn't people hating on Trisha. That's not what this is. This is reality. So Sue Pruitt, okay, Houston, Texas. Actually, the lady lives up around the Woodlands. And the official lawsuit, breach of contract, was misappropriation of funds from the company coffers, number one. Soliciting personal loans from members of Websleuths under false pretenses for operating cost. That was the part I was telling you about. Oh, we're not going to be able to pay our monthly subscription for our servers. People, the amount of money that Trisha was making this poor lady pay for servers was more than what like a large hospital would cost. Like it was just grifting at its finest. And I don't know if Sue ever said, well, let me see the bill. It seems like we can get a cheaper rate somewhere else. Seems like they're not really being fair to us on these servers. I mean, it was a bad situation. Okay. This 2013, you guys. 13 years ago. 13 years ago. Sue claimed, let me make sure that y'all can still see that. Sue claimed that she was covering shortfalls. This was in addition to everything I just told you, that it came like Sue began to realize that Trisha was taking money out of the company bank account for dinner to pay her light bill, her personal light bill. So if you have a business business bank account, you have partners in the business, you overdraw your business bank account, that means you're helping to bankrupt the partners. It's highly illegal. And so Trisha would take money out and Sue would run behind to bring the balance back up so they wouldn't get into legal trouble. And she just kept doing it. She just kept doing it. So remember, when we say that Sue Pruitt paid in $11,000, no. That was the initial buy-in. That was the seed money. But the monthly drain, the nickel and diamond, oh, poor me. Tragedy Trisha's got another problem. It cost Sue Pruitt a fortune. And here it is. You got to go over and got to go listen to Jolene Lunzer. She's got the deposition. She reads the whole thing, okay? But let me tell you what happens. They get into the lawyers questioning Trisha, tragedy Trisha. The lawyers questioning her, and she's just like, well, I don't know. No, it wasn't a loan. I think it was just a gift. Well, what did you use the money for? I don't know. To pay personal bills? Yeah, probably. I don't know. That's the pattern of answering, right? Then the attorney asked the question, has there ever been a problem with gambling? And at that point, Trisha's attorney lit up like the 4th of July. Objection, Your Honor. Objection. No. Object. Don't answer that, tragedy, Trisha. Objection. And said, no. Don't you say a word about gambling. No. So Trisha sits there. And there's a little bit of back and forth, yada, yada. The guy's arguing with the judge. Well, if you try to push this, I'm going to tell my client to take the fifth, which is incriminating yourself, right? I'm not going to talk because I may incriminate myself, and we have constitutional protection against incriminating ourselves, okay? I believe Bill Clinton took the fifth, okay, among many other politicians. Probably Trump also has taken the fifth. And then after this period of back and forth and arguing and whatnot, they get back around to the question to tragedy Trisha again, is there, gambling issues? And what does Trisha do? Put it in the chat. What did tragedy Trisha answer? I take what? The first, the second, the 8th, the 10th. No, Your Honor. Tragedy Trisha takes the 5th. Interesting, isn't it? You are being sued for any manner of financial high crimes and misdemeanors. And you get an itty bitty question like, hey, tell me about gambling. If an attorney says to me, hey, Jules, well, you ever had any trouble with gambling? I would laugh and say, no. I mean, I've gone gambling. It's fun, but I only give myself $200. And when it's gone, I'm finished. I go sightseeing. I don't ever spend more than $200. And if I win something, I set that money aside and put it back in my pocket. I don't lose my mind. I don't go crazy. No trouble with gambling. How would you answer the question if an attorney out of nowhere said, tell me, Diane, have you ever battled addiction to gambling? Would you freak out? Would you be terrified? Would you scream, "I take that"? Very, very interesting little morsel, right? You know what, blessed mama? Let me tell you, I am sorry that you guys had to go through that. So I lived near to Shreveport, Louisiana, before I was down here where I'm at now in Texas. But I lived in an area that was close to Shreveport. And so it was pretty common for a bunch of us to get together and go over to the casinos on a Friday or Saturday night or something. I don't remember exactly what was going on, but it was like on a Sunday afternoon. Maybe there was a shower or something. I just don't remember why I was there, but it was in the afternoon. It was a Sunday. And I was at one of the big casinos, and I had gone into the bathroom to go to the bathroom. When I was in the little stall, I hear this lady, and she's crying, and she's clearly on the phone with someone, right? She's crying. She's saying she doesn't want to come home. She's scared. And I was like, wow, this sounds like really bad, right? Yeah, I've been to Tunica, sis. It's fun. Yeah. I thought, gosh, this sounds really, really bad. I hope everything's okay. And so, like we women do in bathrooms, I was like, honey, are you okay? Can I help you? Like, I got really worried about it. And another lady came up at the same time and was kind of doing the same thing. And to make a long story short, the story is that this girl was gambling, and she pawned her car. She pawned the family car. Let that sink in. Now, look, I was a sheltered little country girl from Claiborne Parish. I didn't know nothing about nothing. And I was like, can you do that? Like, how do you pawn a car? Well, apparently they take the title of the car and they give you some money, how much ever it is. Anyway, so she had been on the phone telling her husband, I'm scared to come home because you're going to be mad. And it was terrible. It was one of those formative moments for me where I grew up a little bit because I just didn't know that was a thing. And at that point, I thought, yeah, gambling can be really, really bad. And everywhere, all around Shreveport, all around like Biloxi, they have these big signs up everywhere. If you have a gambling problem, call this number. It's a thing, right? You don't see those signs in Houston, but where these gambling ships are, apparently people get into real trouble. So I thought that it was very interesting that they asked this question of Tragedy Tricia, and first of all, her attorney lost his mind. And second of all, she ultimately did, in fact, take the fifth. I think that is very interesting. All right. I mean, it would explain a lot where all this money stuff is concerned. So ultimately, and again, please go to Jolene Lunzer. Please go to not JS for Justice, Every Day with Jay. Please go and listen to the whole court stuff because the amount of detail, the truth that comes out is very difficult to deny. But to make a long story short, Sue Pruitt runs out of money. She's trying to sue this lady to get some of her cash back. Well, apparently Tricia didn't have any, what do they say in Louisiana? She didn't have a pot to piss in. And so she ended up having to drop the suit. She just couldn't keep it going because of the cost of the whole thing. And Griffith said, I don't have any money. You can continue to go after me. You can continue to try to sue me, but I am bankrupt. The only thing I got is a shitty cabin somewhere in Utah, USA, with no roof on it. And so Sue learned a very valuable lesson about, going into business with YouTube creators, basically. So this particular case with Sue Pruitt, it is one of several, 3 or 4, where you've actually got legal documents, and J is for Justice and Jolene Lenzer have the documents. Okay. Let's see. Now then, we kind of all now know the story with Beth B. And I found this was so interesting. I think I've still got it up. Let me take a quick peek. Hold on. If you'll give me 1 second. I'm looking for an open window here. Hold on. Hold on. Let me see. It's not there. Shoot. Where is it? Maybe I did close it out. I didn't think that I did, though. No, I must have closed it out. Shoot, sorry. Okay, well, what I was going to say, I found an old live where Beth B did, in fact, leave a comment under the video that Trisha had done. So I thought that was interesting. I was able to get her username and kind of research the history of the account. Beth B. It's Beth B 4255, and it's B is BEE. Oh, Chuck Anderson's granddaughter! Aren't you sweet? Thank you, thank you. Whoever gets that membership, please thank Chuck Anderson's perfect granddaughter. I would appreciate that, please. So the actual username is Beth B, and it's like a little, like a little insect bee, BEE 4255, but there's no history there. You can't find anything. She didn't have an active channel, nothing like that. She just had her username. But I thought it was interesting that her comments were very brief and very fact focused, and seemed almost sort of kind of detached. It didn't show a lot of like emotional connection, right? Like sometimes me and Diane or Cinnamon Hot we'll get into these back and forth conversations, and there's a lot of animation, right? There's a lot of you're discussing something you care about, and it comes out in the discussion. It struck me with Beth B from this video that was, like about 6 years ago. It wasn't like that. It was really sterile. I didn't see that close, intimate connection that comes out with other people. So I thought that was very, very interesting. So we're now dealing with the 2025 issues related to Beth B. In May, Griffith and the team faced public allegations of financial impropriety involving this subscriber's $1 million estate. There's a house in Dallas that's paid off around $258,000. There's 2 large bank accounts. There's a Lexus and some other kind of car. Lexus is Blue Book is about $11,000, $12,000, which I don't know why Sue Pruitt didn't get the damn Lexus. Sue, step up as a creditor and claim that $11,000 Lexus, girlfriend. Go for it. All right. So the claims include receiving, here we go. This is important because I made the video a couple of days ago. I said, it's my opinion, engaging in wild speculation, that the clothing that we see fancy Trisha in now is vintage clothing from the closet of Beth B 4255. Same thing with the jewelry. Now, I don't know. There's no way I would know at all if, maybe Beth B said, Trisha, I love you. You've been a good friend. I want to gift my jewelry to you. Maybe that's what happened. I don't have any idea. Or maybe she did exactly what she did with Beth B's phone with the jewelry. Maybe Beth B is dying or dead. And so Trisha says, oh my gosh, I better grab my phone, Beth B's phone. I better grab my purse, Beth B's purse. I better rush to the house and get all my jewelry. We don't know how it happened. I don't know how it happened. But the fact that Trisha believes there's no will, and so she gets an attorney and approaches the judge and says, hey, judge, I'm supposed to be the executor of Beth B's will. You need to make me the executor. It's what Beth B wanted. Beth B wants me to have her paid off $250,000 house in Dallas, Texas. She told me she did. She wants me to have the Lexus. She wants me to have a place to live and have a bank account so I can take care of her porch kitties. That I'm telling you guys, Tragedy Trisha did approach the judge legally with an attorney and demand to be made executor. And thank God for Daphne. Now, Daphne is a woman who has worked for Beth B for decades. All the way, their relationship goes all the way back to when Beth B was a working woman at Mobile Oil. You know what Daphne did? She was Beth B's financial advisor. She's the reason that Beth B has $1 million estate, because she knew how to invest her money decades ago. Not Trisha sitting out in Utah with a log cabin that has been neglected, and so it's fallen down around her ears and she ain't got a pot to piss in, so she has to steal the money of people that buy into Websleuths. And Trisha just goes, I don't know. I think it's my money. I think I can spend it on whatever I want to. I think Sue was just super sweet and gave me $11,000 because she's that kind of gal. Who do you believe? You believe a lady who neglects a log cabin to the point that it is now crumbling? Or do you believe a lady who has a career as a financial advisor and helped her friend over decades go from small donations into $1 million estate, including having a house paid off in Dallas? Who do you think is more credible? Now then, so there are claims, there have been statements and suggestions that the clothing, the jewelry, that these are all things that Beth B gifted to Trisha. There were computers that were given to some dude named Ping. Who the hell is Ping? Is that like her child or her brother or the homeless guy on the corner? Who's Ping, right? I don't even know who the dude is. But he got a new computer. Stacy got a new computer. But they were bilking this elderly woman, look, here's how it looks, okay? You work your ass off in a large company, you make a reputation for yourself, you manage to parlay monthly donations into a 401k, into $1 million estate, you pay your house off, and then it's time to retire. And when you retire, you have no life. You've left it behind. There's no family to spend time with. There's no husband. You didn't have any children. Everything that provided you socialization as a working woman was connected to your job. And once you have to leave work, once you can no longer let that be your lifestyle, these women and men end up alone in a beautiful house paid off, millions of dollars at their disposal, but they are lonely and they don't have any meaning in their life. They don't have anything to do. Okay. What do you think happens to people like that? Someone who was previously very productive, very organized. They led a rules-based life. They had goals that they would set and achieve. They didn't have a family with children because they chose a career. What happens to them when they find themselves sitting alone in a house? There's no goals. There's no dreams for the future. There's no children or husband to spend time with. What happens to them? They get very depressed. And at that point, they're now in danger of being targeted by a grifter. Suddenly, you have a purpose. Hey, I really like Trisha. I really want to help her make her channel successful. I'd really like to see her channel build up until she's making good money. I really want to help this lady. Let me try to teach her how to dress properly. Let's get her a makeover so she can learn about the proper makeup and the way to wear her hair. Let me give her some of my nice clothes to help with her physical presentation during her videos. Let's do something about that ugly pine wall behind you. Let's make it look more modern and up to date and snazzy. And now Beth B is feeling good because there's purpose again. There's productivity again. There's friends in her life. And so when, according to the story that was sent to me, when the roof caved in around Trisha, Beth said, come to Dallas and live in Dallas. I will set you up in an apartment. And Trisha moved from Utah to Dallas into an apartment that is said to be only a few miles from this lady's house. Sounds like there was a lot of emotional manipulation that was happening for both of these women, for both of them. And I think it felt very, very good for Beth B to have purpose again, to have a sense of purpose, to be able to have something to think about that would involve setting goals and objectives and working together with a team for some sort of ultimate outcome, right? But there's nothing about Trisha that suggests she had any hope of being successful. I did have somebody reach out to me and tell me that the Othram Labs collaboration was actually something that was put together by Beth B. So even that was Trisha benefiting from this exploitative relationship with Beth B. It's really this should be made into a movie as a cautionary tale to elderly people on the internet. So the claims are that that Trisha was receiving gifts, jewelry, high dollar clothing while Beth was alive, that it prompted Trisha to make the move to Dallas, where they then proceeded to get an apartment very near, just a few miles from Beth B's house. And Beth B was paying Trisha's rent. So then when Beth B passes, she's gone on to heaven. Who's going to pay Trisha's rent? Now, the person that sent me this long email to give me the facts said that Trisha is independently wealthy because of Othram Labs. And my answer back is, okay, so why can't she pay her own damn rent? Anybody that is independently wealthy isn't going to have any trouble with $1,000 rent in Dallas. You know what I mean? So what is this great detriment? And that is actually the wording in the legal documents, that Trisha relied on Beth B financially. She relied on Beth B's inheritance to her own detriment. Meaning, without the inheritance, somehow Trisha is hurt by the fact that she was left out of the will. This is a gross story. So when Trisha found out she wasn't in the will, she got her attorney and approached the judge and said, make me the executor because this is what Beth wanted. Beth wanted me to have it. Is that the weirdest shit you've ever heard in your life? I wouldn't even do that with a family member. Family member leaves you out of the will. Okay, I don't care. I got plenty of money that I earned. You just don't worry about it. The old person that wrote the will, they do with their money what they want to do with it. And you just go, okay or not. You don't have the right after they're gone and they no longer can speak for themselves. You don't have a right then to go and lie to some judge and manipulate and try to get something that you did not work for. Trisha, you're not entitled to her estate at all. If I were you, I'd just be damn happy I was wearing all that jewelry. You know what I mean? Because with that jewelry, you could sell it and that would keep you alive for a year or so. So no matter what Trisha tells you, and she is lying to her subscribers, she is manipulating to try to make it all look like it was very innocent and she was fighting for the good of the little kitties. That is not true. She was fighting for the good of her. The paperwork says, to my detriment, I'm hurt. Not, hey, this money is supposed to be going to the little puppies and kitties. She also kept telling her subscribers, oh, a new will, another will, a second will. There's never a first will. That's why she went and approached the judge. She thought that this was a woman that nobody would even know had died. And she would be the only one laying claim to the estate. Well, little did she find out, Beth B was no fool. And Daphne is a powerful, accomplished woman with her own fortune who isn't going to sit by and let Trisha steal her friend's estate. All right. So there was actually court paperwork filed, no matter what Trisha tells you guys. Y'all just need to go over to Everyday with Jay and listen to the truth. The truth is out there. Okay. In the 2011 will that Daphne, the friend, the financial advisor, put forth to the court, the 2011 will names some people and says, if I die, these are the beneficiaries. And then it says, if when I die, all of these people I've named are already dead, and they are, there's none of them still alive, then I want my estate to go to the Tri-City Animal Shelter. How much clearer can that be? There's nothing ambiguous about that. The woman was in her right mind. She knew exactly what she was doing. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, I'm not going to talk about restraining orders. Now, we know that Chris McDonough of the, did I leave anything out? Okay, here's something else I want to put for the timeline if you're writing all these dates down. Websleuths forum, which is websleuths.com, okay? Not the YouTube channel, but the website. That was established on May the 25th, 1999. So 25 years ago. It struggled to ever make any money or to really do anything. It was very successful, loads of subscribers and members, and big case discussions. Some police departments said they were using it, blah, blah, blah. But Trish is not a businesswoman, and she didn't know how to parlay this large website into an actual income until Beth B came along. That's the other part of that. You're trying to take this woman's $1 million estate away from the little puppies and kitties, but you supposedly are now independently wealthy because Beth B made it possible for you to monetize your website's forum with Authrum Labs. So why do you need the $1 million? So that May the 25th, 1999, Websleuths.com comes into being. And then in about 5 years, Tricia Griffith, 2004, is purchased from the previous owners. So the previous owners were somebody named River and Pookie. River and Pookie established Websleuths forums. 5 years later, 2004, Tricia bought it away from them. Guess what she paid for Websleuths? $1,500. For $1,500, she became the owner operator. And she talks a big game about how she bought it, and it was a snake pit of arguing and fighting and threats, and the forums were just overwhelmed by disruptive users, and that she came in and cleaned it up. A new sheriff in town. I guess that's where she got that ugly black cowboy hat. She cleaned things up. There's a new sheriff in town, and she implemented very strict moderation rules. There will be no name calling, and we are not going to accept unfounded rumors about my graft and corruption. No, I'm kidding. I added that last part. It was a joke, damn it. No. She would say that she cleaned it up, she made new rules, and she didn't tolerate any nonsense on Websleuths.com. Okay? So she claimed that cleaning it up, that helped the community grow significantly. And, by about 2007, there were 240,000 registered users. And you couldn't figure out how to take 240,000 registered users and turn that into an income? That's so weird. So by the mid-2000s, Tricia had basically turned Websleuths.com into a common household name, a resource for people that enjoyed discussing missing persons cases, cold cases, unsolved mysteries, things like that. Websleuths.com gained attention for making a substantial factual contribution to cases like the Kaylee Anthony murder discussion. And then there was, in 2014, they actually helped make identification of Tammy Alexander. And Tammy Alexander was a Caledonia Jane Doe. And I guess that began sort of the DNA connections that would ultimately come out to make Tricia independently wealthy, quote unquote. I have no idea if that's true. I don't know what her net worth is. None of my business. I'm just telling you what was written in the letter to me. So the 2000s Websleuths transitions, okay, become successful, loads of subscribers. In the 2010s, Griffith now expands into a weekly podcast that was not on YouTube, but it was on Blog Talk Radio. And then a few years later, she started doing YouTube videos discussing current true crime cases. Okay. So she sort of just grew different outreaches of the same type of foundation of each of her social media outlets. Her channel had grown to 49,000 subscribers with thousands of video. Exact channel launch date is not publicly available. And, you know, it doesn't look like it was the 2010s. It looked like she started the channel only about 6 or 8 years ago. So I don't know why she's making these claims that it's been around. Her YouTube channel's been around for decades. Then in 2016 and 17, CrimeCon became a big deal. And Trisha has jumped in full throat to the CrimeCon grift. Okay. I mean, the first couple of CrimeCons she went to, the subscribers paid for her to go. She couldn't even buy her own ticket. She showed up with her clothes in a trash bag. We're not talking about a sophisticated woman here, y'all. This is a lady who, it sounds like to me, she was just living close to the land, living a pretty rural, simple type of life until she got out on the World Wide Web, right? Began to make friends. And I do think that Beth B was really instrumental in bringing Websleuths up a notch and making Trisha more appropriate in her professional presentation. I really do believe that. So Trisha does like to talk about how Websleuths is a tool that law enforcement uses all the time, y'all, all the time. I wouldn't go that far, Trisha. Okay. but it is very successful, and people do seem to rather like the Websleuths.com, although the YouTube channel has failed to catch on. It's not grown a lot. I think right now they have 50,000 subscribers. So by 2023, now is this where she makes the move to Texas from her log cabin with no roof? 2023, Trisha is reportedly, by her own words, living in Texas and, quotation marks, running a massive operation from her house, end quote. Weird, right? If she is running a massive operation from her house, why is Beth B paying her rent? Why has she been harmed now that Beth B has passed away? Is it because Beth was paying for everything? I have looked everywhere to try and figure out when Trisha actually moved to Dallas. And it's shady as hell, y'all. It's shady as hell. All right. Trisha herself, she calls herself the godmother of true crime. So that's why I put that on the thumbnail, because she says that she's the godmother of true crime. All right, let me see how long this video has turned out to be. I may leave the Chris McDonough drama. I may leave that for another. Yeah, we're an hour and a half in right now. I think I'll wait until my next video to do the Chris McDonough drama. And hold on. Let's take a quick peek here. All right, let me show you this. Okay. You're going to love it. Allegedly. All right. This is great. I had so much fun looking up these videos. It was just like a blast from the past, right? It was just like a time machine taking you back in time. It's wonderful. What you're looking at here is a lovely red Chanel silk shirt. And note the heavy gold chain imprint. See it? See it? See it? See it? See it? See it? This was iconic for the 80s, you guys. Iconic. The other thing I want to point out about this particular video is look at the brooch. I can zoom in closer. See the heavy brooch right here? Okay. So the Greek key was also something that was ever present with the women's power suit. So the cool thing about the 80s, even the 90s to a lesser degree, the 80s, you can pick out those vintage clothes. They have a very specific set of like rules that were just present in the high dollar clothing. And that's why when I started really paying attention to how Trisha's, her fashion on her channel had changed, and I started really looking at the details, I had an epiphany and I said, oh my God, she's wearing the dead subscribers' clothing. This vintage clothing that Trisha's wearing would have been exactly appropriate for Beth B to wear when she went to work at Mobil Oil. And then I thought about my own work closet that has like my work clothes in it. And I thought, oh my God, these are her clothes. It's just such a strange thought. Like, I don't like it. When I think to myself, okay, let's say if I die, I pass away and I don't have any heirs, I don't have any beneficiaries or anything like that. And so let's say, I don't know, hybrid Pisces, just me. Somebody, Requiem, because Requiem lives really close to me. Okay. So Requiem comes over to my house and she opens up my work closet and she says, wow, those are some really nice clothes. Nobody's going to know that I took them because Jules didn't have any heirs. I think I'll just go ahead and go shopping at Jules' house. Requiem, honey, I will put you in my wheels, sweetheart. Okay. I hate to call you out like that, but you see my point? That thought is such a, well, how do I describe why it bothers me? It feels, it's like a scavenger, isn't it? It's like a scavenger. It's like poor Beth B, she's going home to heaven. She's going to be reunited with her mom and her dad and her siblings. And what's left behind, you have these locusts that just Yeah, vultures. And it's creepy to think about. The idea that I would go take let's say the same thing happened. I'm the scavenger. And I go into Beth B's house and I'm like, oh my God, look at the jewelry. Ooh, this is beautiful. And I would stop and admire it and look at it. And then I would put it right where Beth left it and move on. I wouldn't say, oh, I should take it. Nobody's going to care. No way would I do that. So then I go to her closet and I see all this vintage clothing. There in the midst is a Chanel blouse. Thousands of dollars, y'all. Thousands. And I think to myself, oh, Jules, you look so good in that vintage Chanel. You be rocking that. Woo, girl. Nobody's ever going to know that you took it, you know. Oh my God, I couldn't do that. Let me tell you one of the reasons why it really bothers me. So you guys know, I've said this before. Me and my dad, super close. Love the guy. He saved my life, believe me. He was absolutely everything to me. And losing him was a terrible loss. Terrible loss. Really messed me up for a while. So one time I was at the house and my mom was like, well, you can go into his closet and you get whatever you want, blah, blah, blah. And I did go in there and I got a jacket and I got some shirts, some button-up shirts. Cause like on the weekend and stuff, I wear button-up shirt with leggings or t-shirt with leggings. Like that's my uniform, right? I also got one of his watches. I didn't get his Rolex. My brother got his Rolex, but I didn't care. He had a watch that he wore every single day. I don't even remember him even having the Rolex on. I knew he had it, but I don't remember him wearing it. But his other watch, he wore all the time. Like when he was out doing the hay, basketball games, he had that watch on. So when I see that watch, I remember him. Right? I'm close to him when I see the watch or his jewelry. Like I got his jewelry. He had some amazing rings. Anyway, so if I wear his watch, which I sometimes do, like with some of my work clothes, if I wear his watch, but I especially noticed if I wear one of his shirts, I feel comfort. Like it feels good to have that close to me. And it would be so weirdly intimate to take Beth B's clothes and wear them. It's weird. Am I being weird here? I want to know, am I being weird? Am I the only one that finds this creepy that Trisha would put on the clothing of a woman that was her subscriber that passed away? Top tier fashion. Top tier fashion. Absolutely, Kresha. Absolutely. It just to talk about my dad, I feel that feeling of him being near and feeling comforted. Yeah. It's so weird, Emilio. It's so weird. Again, I wear my dad's shirts. I wear his watch. I've got a couple of, these rings that are pretty iconic for him. I feel like a comforted child. It's intimate, right? I cannot imagine going into a friend's closet, a damn subscriber's closet, and picking out expensive vintage clothing. I'm talking about expensive. And wearing it. Too weird. I'm sorry. Can't. No. My brain doesn't even want to think about the weirdness of that. I can't think of it. All right. See, Queen of Hearts, same thing. She got 3 of her dad's flannel shirts. And when you wear them, there's like an emotional thing, isn't it? It's like this emotional connection. Like it's some kind of energy that is left with the clothing or the jewelry or whatever, right? Amelia is the same. I have my dad's watch and cashmere sweater. Thank you. It's so our clothing is so intimate, you guys. The idea that oh my God, I just can't. It gives me the heebie-jeebies even. It's just wrong. It's just really wrong. Secretly gloating, Duper's Delight on steroids. I mean, yeah. And did she have it dry clean? That's the other thing, Sketty Nona. When you look at the clothing, you can tell that it was impeccably maintained. And look, for those of you, oh, hey, Josh, welcome. Good to have you. Josh said, the lab said, I got my grandpa's jacket and his Bible. Oh, the Bible's amazing. That's amazing. I'm glad you got that, Josh. It's wonderful. Yeah, clothing is personal. It's something that there's some kind of like emotional connection, some kind of psychic energy there, and here's a funny story. Well, maybe not funny. I don't know. So when I was a school teacher before I became a psychologist. Okay. And years and years and years ago, when I was teaching school, I was teaching 5th grade in Bossier City. And there was this kid that came from this family, and they were very, very poor. Like they had nothing. And so I was really emotionally troubled by the circumstances. And so I ended up collecting a lot of like my kids' old clothing and putting together a donation to this family because they had some little girls. They had several children, this one kid in my class. And so I put together this box of clothing, and the kid was pretty big kid. My son was several years older than him. So I had some old clothes that would fit him. So I got it all together. My husband had some shirts that I put in there for him. Anyway, this family, very, very poor. They obviously were having trouble with running water because he wouldn't bathe, and hair was very greasy. It was just a bad all around poverty-stricken problem, right? But I got all these clothes and shoes and things together, took it up to the office and said, I don't want them to know it came from me because I didn't want my student to be embarrassed. But can you give it to the parents when they come in? Don't tell the kids, but give it to the parents so they have something. You have no idea. I spent the rest of that school year in cognitive dissonance on steroids. And you ask, well, why? Here's why. Because the father and the mother that were very dirty, they were I think they were probably intellectually low functioning. They began wearing my husband's and my son's clothing. So they would come into the school, or they would come to the football game, and they would have what had originally been my husband's clothes or my son's clothes. And it freaked my brain out because it's like, oh my gosh, I don't think it would have bothered me so much if it had been the boy, right? The teenager. I think that wouldn't have felt that way. But then, it was not good. So next time, anytime I donate, I make sure I'm donating at a place that I'm not going to know the people, right? Hey, Arctic Cat, good to see you. Yeah, and that's the other part of it, Arctic Cat. It's almost like desecration, isn't it? It's like you wait to swoop in and see what you can get of value. Like it's just gross. It's just weird as hell. So yeah, it's a terrible story, however it turned out. But I don't think I want to go into the Chris McDonough history. I think I'll leave that for a second, another video, because I didn't know this. I knew there was a bit of disagreement between Trisha and Chris McDonough, but I didn't, until I started really researching and watching these old videos, I did not realize how bad things got with Trisha where Chris McDonough is concerned. She was ruthless attacking him. she was ruthless going against the interview room. And I just thought that was really strange because he was someone that already had a made reputation when he came on to YouTube. And it seemed odd that she focused so hard on him, demonizing his channel, when he already had a reputation. He was on Nancy Grace all the time. He was on mainstream media. So it was very strange the way it all played out. But they had this guy that was a part of this, Scientific Skeptic was his name. And he was a giant bonehead. Okay. He was one of the people that I eventually would knock heads with because he was just so ridiculous guy. But he drove a lot of that Chris McDonough, I guess what would you call it? Hate mob. Scientific Skeptic tried to convince everybody that he was this very, very brilliant man and hyper successful academic, and he was nothing. He was none of those things. He was a reporter. That's all. He was nothing. He was a big fraud. But he factors in heavily to the Chris McDonough, Trisha Websleuths battle. So we're already in 2 hours, an hour and 50 minutes on this video. So I think I'm going to leave the Chris McDonough interview room part of this history timeline for the next video. Okay. All right. So let me take a minute while I'm kind of cleaning all this up and getting ready to put an end to this live. What do y'all think about the way this has kind of all unfolded with the godmother of true crime, self-defined godmother of true crime? She called herself the godmother of true crime. What do y'all think about this? The massive grift. Like how do you make sense of this? I'm just curious if anybody else is completely baffled like I am. I mean, there's people that are really gutsy, aren't they? This is gutsy. Oh, he was hybrid. He was so crazy. Scientific Skeptic. So nuts. Yeah. Absolutely. So why is this important? Here's one more comment that I'll make, and then I'll end this. Why is this important? Well, here's the reason why it's important. Because now we know that there have been multiple subscribers that have ended up in financial trouble through their relationship with Trisha. That Trisha, through court documents and paper, has been revealed to be very disorganized, completely financially irresponsible. And when you build up a reputation that you can do no wrong, when you build up a channel that has this cult-like atmosphere, where you put your fingers in your ears and you close your eyes real tight and you say, no, I can't hear you. Like we saw with Hidden True Crime and now Websleuths. You have good people that have good hearts that become victims. I think that Beth B was victimized by these women. I believe that Sue Pruitt was victimized by these women. And how many have been victimized, just not on the scale of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, $1 million, but how many have been victimized through $1,000 or $500? The documents, the depositions clearly reveal a pattern of this dry, This brings back memories. Oh my God, Josh, it was horrible nightmare memories, not good ones. I know. And thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. That she has an established history and a pattern of poor mouthing, giving a laundry list of all her financial woes, and that she's on the doorstep of ultimate ruin. And then people that are kind and sweet, they come in and say, well, move to Dallas and I'll pay for an apartment for you. I'll give you my clothes. I'll give you my expensive jewelry. Let me buy part of it and you'll have a little money and then I can help you with the company. And then she goes right ahead and acts like you never, ever became part of the company and continues to take company resources and spend it for her own detriment. What about the question? Tell us, Trisha, about this history of gambling, and her attorney blows up and she takes the fifth. That means those subscribers are in jeopardy. If she says, I don't know what I'm going to do, I can't pay my rent, and I'm going to get kicked out and be homeless, and my car won't be able to make it to Utah. I need $500 just so that I can get back home to Utah. Then some poor, unsuspecting woman on Social Security says, Trisha, don't worry. I understand, honey. I know this has been so hard on you. Let me Zelle you $500 so you can get home. You got another victim. It's dishonest. It's stealing. And the cult-like mentality that tends to develop around some of these channels that are using basically what I think is a form of, like trauma bonding, they won't listen to the truth. Hidden True Crime, a licensed psychologist who had to take an oath related to ethical behavior. He's literally trying to make up a crime to have a young mother thrown in prison, and he's lamenting out loud to a police officer, if we can find 5 instances, she could go to jail for 25 years. And the mother didn't even do a damn thing wrong. It was damn Lauren and John Matthias that were in the wrong, 100% in the wrong. There is police body cam, you guys. You can go watch it today. You can watch the police body cam. You can hear the conversation. You can watch John Matthias talk to Lauren and the police officer and Grayson in the flesh. You can watch it. It's real. Nobody made that up. Nobody. It's not a lie. But the cult mentality, fingers in the ears, closed eyes. I can hear you. I love Lauren. I love Trisha. I can't hear you. Okay, fine. If you want to be a small child, but at least if you're going to follow them and be like loyal to a fault, don't you at least want to understand who they really are? Like the reality of who they are? Go watch the police body cam. It's okay. Keep being a fan. Keep giving her money. It's your business, but be informed. Don't open yourself up to victimization for people who are grifting. Don't do that. And now the same thing with Trisha. Every Day with Jay and Jolene Lunzer, they have the court documents. They have the depositions. You don't have to guess if this is real or not. Go listen. It's real. One of the lawsuits was right here in Harris County where I live. All right. This is real. And there will be more victims if people don't start opening up and realizing how this cult-like mentality can really, really take a hold. Okay. All right. Oh my God. Scientific skeptic. Man, I'm so sorry I even brought that up. He was, the worst. The worst. I used to think that he was going live on a porch in Vietnam. I was like, yo, creepy ass, you coming getting live on a damn house that's fallen down in the jungle of Vietnam. I don't know where he was. Maybe he was in the Philippines or somewhere. I don't know. But yeah, that was an interesting time on the tubes. That was really something. All right, you guys, y'all are awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Again, just educate yourself, protect your mom. If your mom is a member of Websleuths or Hit True Crime, get your mom to listen to watch the police body cam. Listen to the lawsuits. Just get accurate information, and then you can make good choices. All right, y'all are awesome. Thank you for being here. Oh, hit the subscribe button and do a thumbs up. I'm a terrible YouTuber. See you later. Bye.
Trisha the grifter strutting down round Beth B's yard. Brown loafer heels clicking like she owning it all. She found a lonely old woman. Trisha got a sparkle in her eye. Sweet tea and sympathy, then wave that phone goodbye. She coos, oh honey, let me help you text your friends. Next thing you know, that iPhone's sliding in her purse, and that phone is gone again. Inheritance check, signed, sealed, delivered with a kiss. Trisha's laughing and dreaming about all the way to the bank. Trisha's got that sparkle in her smile, that devil in her stride. Stealing purses, phones, and bank accounts. Bonnie to Stacy's Clyde. Trisha the grifter, queen of the con, grifting lonely ladies from dusk till dawn. Phones and fortune, she takes them with glee, funding her fabulous, ridiculous spree. Gold brooch pin right there on her chest, flashing brighter than the lies she tells best. Trisha the grifter, ooh, what a thief, living large on somebody else's money. New fur coat, dripping diamonds on her wrist, attacking John Ramsey, he is at the top of her list. John Bonet, who she tweets with a sneer, while sipping champagne that cost a whole year. She's got a brand new wardrobe, looking oh so fine. But did she steal those fancy threads from Beth B's closet line? Closet raid at midnight, hangers flying high. Trisha in best dress, waving that brooch to the sky. She's got that sparkle in her smile, that devil in her stride. Stealing closets, cash and cloud. Watch her take the ride. Trisha the grifter, queen of the con, grifting lonely ladies from dusk till dawn. Phones and fortune, she takes them with glee, funding her fabulous, ridiculous spree. Gold brooch pin right there on her chest, flashing brighter than the lies she tells best. Trisha the grifter, ooh, what a thief, living large on somebody else's grief. Oh, Trisha, what's a girl to do when the well runs dry and the marks are few? She just bats those lashes, spins another tale. Bless your heart, my darlings, then she's gone without fail. Trisha the grifter, swinging through the night, stealing phones and purses from the dead under soft moonlight. From lonely old ladies to Ramsey rents online, she's funding chaos with somebody else's dime. That big gold brooch catching every light on clothes that might belong to Beth B. Ain't that right? Trisha the grifter, sassest grifter in town. Bow down, honey, she's wearing a crown. Trisha the grifter. Yeah, she did, stole Beth B's clothes, kid. Trisha the grifter, swing it, girl. Trisha the grifter.